Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today's video is going to be a special one as the game is rather unconventional where I start out playing defensive and then suddenly switch it up and fully go on the offense. It's not something that happens a lot, but it can be done and I'm going to try and show you guys how I do it. Now, I'll be up against Reven, who happens to be one of my mods on Twitch. And while we do face off every now and then, he has definitely had my number a couple of times. I've had his, and they're always interesting games to say the least. Now, I actually ran out of time in this particular game. My game crashed, and I managed to get back in time, but I didn't select my pack. The game just gifted me one. I'm pretty happy with this one though. I think out of all the packs I could have gotten, there is much worse packs out there, and I just get sledgehammers with marksman, and Typhoon's pack is definitely one of the better ones too, so I was pretty happy about this. Now, it does kind of mean that I am, well, not forced to play standard, but sledgehammers and marksman definitely do like long range fights, so that's what I just decided to set up. You know, like I was a bit flustered, I was streaming, like everything was going wrong. And well, I was just happy to get back into the game, so not going to think too hard about this one. Just place the marksman behind the sledgehammers, probably go for double crawler, and then call that a day. I was a little bit torn between starting with crawlers or starting with arc lights, because my opponent starts with storm crawlers and then triple crawler, and triple crawler can be hard to clear for double sledge. But he also started with storms, and I was thinking to myself, if I don't buy chaff, then my arc lights likely are just going to die to the Stormcaller shots, and I still won't achieve anything. And I need chaff regardless, so let's just grab it. Now, my opponent is an Amplify specialist, and so he has the 3 amp cores. Right now, seems like he doesn't want to use them. And yeah, well, you can see me kind of think, you know, think about the arc lights, but eventually I do go for the crawlers, and here we go. We'll have to see how this round goes. It's really going to come down to whether or not we can lock on to the arc lights, get rid of those storm crawlers, and especially get rid of the crawlers as fast as possible. Luckily, my crawlers are going to help out. The left side is more stacked. 2 crawler packs over there. Right side going to do a lot better. Going to free up those sledgehammers, and the marksman will be able to take down that arc light with the help of the sledgehammers. Left side, though, as you can see, struggling a lot more, and this is what I mean, right? Especially if the opponent stacks, if they play aggro. Sledgehammers just can't keep up with the amount of chaff, but seems like we're doing all right here, and with the marksman winning on the right side, we might be able to take this round. Second marksman is going to fall, but we managed to get a debuff, and now as this marksman makes his way over, he is going to get hit, but he has enough hit points to survive, and even manages to take a level. Very happy with how that round went. I didn't think I'd necessarily be favored, but here we are. Round number 2. We get some pretty good cards. Laser sight can always be good, but with my current units, not really what I want. I don't want to chuck this onto a sledge or a marksman. I don't think that's worth it. Improved Sabertooth, I did consider because it's a very good card. Currently, Sabertooth is one of the better units in the game, I'd say, and Improved Sabertooth gives very useful stats. More hit points, which is always nice, and crucially, it decreases the attack interval, which is always going to make the card worth considering, right? Improved Factory, amazing card because it reduces the interval. Assault Scorpion can be useful sometimes as well because it reduces the attack interval. All of those type of cards are worth a consideration when they show up. And I do actually pick it. I didn't know if I want to use it, but I thought, well, the card only costs 50. I don't have massive plans here in terms of what I want to do, just triple crawler, so let's pick it. And my opponent does the same thing, picks it as well. Whether they will show up, we'll have to see. For now, he decides to go for a double Stormcaller into my army, and that already I find to be a little bit scary. Stormcallers in long-range fights can be very hard to deal with, especially if he manages to get this many on the board. Now, obviously what I could do is either try to spam a whole bunch of crawlers, try and go air, but I mean, going Phoenix when I already started with triple marksman doesn't feel ideal. And yeah, I was somewhat unsure here of what I wanted to do. I didn't think I wanted to try and intercept. I think intercepting can be a bit bait, especially with Farseer being really good right now. And with the burst tech, you can very easily overwhelm any interception attempts. So that really wasn't something I was comfortable going for. So I was a bit on the fence here. and uncertain about what I wanted to do. I am going to lose. Marksman did a decent job. It does level again, I believe, but... Oh, no, never mind. That's a lie. Round number 3 is going to gift us some options. And here I'm thinking, okay, well, Phoenix is shown, and it's a good thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure my opponent is going to pick it because he lacks, you know, solid DPS and he lacks anti-air, so it just makes sense to pick that. Me, though, I already had Marksman, so is that really something I want to go for? And instead, I'm kind of eyeing this Wraith, right? Wraith, Tarantula, Fire Badger, all very high level and very good chaff clear units. But out of the ones that are available, the Wraith cannot be hit by the Stormcallers. And so immediately I kind of start thinking, well, is that maybe worth picking up? Even though I know Phoenix is going to get picked, you know, the level might make a difference here. And so I do decide to pick it. And well, since Wraith is, you know, better used in close range scenarios, I just go on the offense fully. Corner Wraith here going to get used. I know that there is a lot of, you know, desync between my main army and what I'm trying to do over here. But that's all right. I got this Wraith practically for free, and I still have my deployments available. So what I can do here is start transitioning into steel balls and even sell my sledgehammer, right? I'm going to sell the one on the right first, since that's where I'm pushing in. Hopefully this Wraith can kill most of the stuff. And the left side I'm going to try and stall as much as possible with the help of the Arclight and the sledgehammers over there. We also go for a beacon, a crawler, a deep crawler flank as well to try and pull away as many units as possible and create some space for this this pack of units to get in and hopefully grab a debuff. Wraith is going to need range rather quickly. And, well, we'll have to see if we can manage. Lots and lots of crawlers available, though. I mean, we just don't really seem to be able to get in. Stormcaller's already killed my level 1 steel balls. Left side is not doing too poorly. Marksman might be able to kill that Phoenix, actually. But right side, it's managed to find my Wraith. And while I'm getting close, not quite enough there to win. So, well, it's not the end of the day. I am, you know, busy transitioning here. So it's natural that that pairs with a loss of tempo. But I was hoping I would be able to surprise him a bit more with that flank. Sadly, it didn't really work out. Round number 4, improved War Factory does show up, but I think it's a bit too early to pick it. All the other things don't seem too interesting. And I decided to just pick up that photon coating, cheap item, throw it onto that Wraith, and yeah, I mean, go from there. We pick up the range immediately on the Wraith. I think that's mandatory here. It'll really help chaff clear from a much longer range and kind of free up the path for my steel balls. I also have access to my Typhoons now from my specialist. I'm going to chuck that on the corner here with a crawler and a steel ball behind. And what I'm trying to set up here is a mech div steel ball comp, because I was somewhat expecting him to go Farseer. I think Farseer is a very common response, especially in the current meta against something like Wraith. I know he has the Storms, I know he has the Arclights, the Phoenixes, and like the one weakness I am spotting is mech div steel ball, right? He won't want to go for something like Hacker or Wraith or maybe even Vulcan, which would be the typical kind of responses to mech div ball, and that might give me a way in. So that's what I'm trying to set up here, hence why I'm buying so many steel balls, and I'm really trying to kind of pull apart his army, right? I've got this clump over here, I got this clump moving in diagonally, kind of starting to also build some stuff over here. I will probably like to add a Wraith on the left, and then that's kind of going to be it. I do get missiled, luckily it doesn't hit my Wraith. Don't get slowed. It does hit my Typhoon spawning in, but that's fine. And already things are looking slightly better. Opponent does add another Farseer though, and while steel balls, level 1, very squishy, not really able to do too much from the looks of things. That means our DPS gets cut massively. So while the Wraith is doing a decent job, it does get stuck for a little while. The Photon runs out, and now it's going to have to deal with those Phoenixes, as well as one more Farseer that's still alive. Left side, I'm still quite happy with. I think we're stalling well enough, but sadly, we aren't quite able to get in on time. Marksman will at least clean up that Phoenix, but again, a round loss, and suddenly we're down below 3k hit points. Not the end of the world though. I think 2.5k is still very workable, and for now, I quite like my setup. I think that we do have a bit of a chance, but we need to start turning the tide quick, because otherwise, you know, I'll have to start worrying about Titans, and I don't really want to do that right now. We pick up the Incendiary Bomb. He does the same. I did expect this, but not much I can do about that. I can't shield on his side of the board, so we'll just have to tank it. And I decided to use my fire on the left side, hoping that he wouldn't shield. he does shield. I guess he feels very comfortable about the position that he's in right now, so he can spend a little bit more money on these type of devices. Looks like we'll still hit part of the fire though, taking out one Stormcaller and a Crawler. Not that terrible. And yeah, we're just going to build more and more steel balls. 2 more picked up, in fact, another wraith as well, as I talked about, kind of trying to deal with any chaff that comes down the middle. And yeah, really trying to surround the right side here. I might eventually want to move to the left, but for now, my right side is losing, and mounting a left side attack really would be rather difficult. So I want to try and somewhat stabilize the right before I start turning my attention to the left, which is currently my weak side, right? I need to create at least a winning side before I start thinking about this. Fire does land, lots and lots of chaff will die, but luckily the steel balls, you know, can also function as chaff in a way. And they're tanky enough to get through, I want to say. They are getting stuck somewhat though. Farseer there just freeing itself immediately as the steel balls try to lock on. And yeah, things are not looking too great right now. My Typhoon also dies. Maybe we could take down the Farseer. I'd be quite happy with that. Okay, that at least saves us 300 hit points, but another loss, and a relatively big one. Going to put us down to 1250 hit points already on round number 6. Scary, scary stuff. Round number 6, though, we do get unit reinforcements, and we might be able to find something here to help us, hopefully. I decided to go for the Rhinos. I was a little bit afraid of something like Burst Farseer coming out, but I knew that Mechdiv Steel Ball might be able to save me there. Initially, I'm thinking, you know, maybe we just push the right side even more. And then I start thinking, well, we pick up Mechdiv Ball for certain, but these type of rounds where you get a bunch of free units from the free unit cards is a really good time to start turning and creating another kind of point of attack, right? Because normally you're deployment capped at typically 3 deployments. That means it can be very hard to suddenly mount an attack that is successful. But if you get 2 deployments for free, like I do here, I actually, you know, I'm able to mount something that uses 5 deployments, and usually the things that you get for free also will be leveled. So that kind of adds to the pressure that you can build. And so what you'll see me do is move the 2 Rhinos side by side here to kind of really create a big stack. And then we're going to have a steel ball right in front as our chaff. This looks a little bit weird maybe, but keep in mind the steel balls each will spawn 5 crawlers upon death, which is going to be a grand total of 20 crawlers per steel ball pack, which is very much near the 24 that you get from a crawler pack, right? So it's completely fine to put something in front like this. I'm going to go armor as well. I'm sending out of my sledgehammers. A wraith has been added for some chaff clear, and I also put down a missile interceptor, which manages to grab 2 missiles. Very happy I put that down. Steel balls, sadly, they're kind of getting stuck, or at least moving so far forward that they don't kill the shield. Rhino, though, luckily is able to move in. No burst on the Farseer, so it seems like the Rhinos, with that 50% hit points from the armor, are going to be able to move in. Right side, not looking too good. Most of my steel balls died, but we managed to get to the tower, chop down those Farseers, and during the debuff, we might have enough to be able to kill most of these units on the right side. We do take down the Phantoms, not the Phantoms, the Phoenixes, the other flying unit. And as we take down that second tower, there is only 1 Farseer left. Now that might be able to clean up a fair bit of our units, but I hope that the Rhinos will be able to take this down. They will. A minor win, and we're a long way off of winning here with 4,000 hit points remaining on Revan, but at least we have finally managed to find a round, and that's a good starting point. I can't really afford to take a loss here, though, I feel. So I am a little bit antsy about, you know, any big air threats, maybe even an Abyss. Opponent decides to go for the burst. I think I didn't pick anything there. Extended range Stormcaller has been picked up. I don't know if that was this round, but not bad. Opponent goes for Launcher Overload on the Storms. That's an interesting thing to go for. Not exactly what you'd expect against the faster steel balls and those type of units, but perhaps it'll be enough here, especially as I'm utilizing the steel balls as frontline. Trying to be a little bit more annoying here. Steel ball, going to throw that onto the flank to try and distract this Stormcaller, plus the Crawlers and the Phoenix, and really hope that this can get in. Opponent did use Final Blitz, by the way, so I'm trying to just put down some shields. That way, this should die pretty quick, and the shield will be able to tank that explosion, and then that should mean that most of our units survive. If my frontline steel balls die, it's not a big deal. I kind of want them to die anyway, right, eventually, because they spawn crawlers. That'll make it all the more easy for the rest of my units to move in. We are leveling our wraith here and buying even more steel balls. That's kind of what you need to keep doing when you play a comp like this, right? I have identified that the biggest weakness of my opponent is going to be Mech Steel Ball. Doesn't have anything that really deals with that. The burst is going to kill some of the steel balls, but then crawlers are going to pop out, and that's going to protect the rest of my army. And this is looking a lot better this time around. Right side actually managing to win as well as we added more steel balls. And yeah, we're finally going to deal a decent amount of damage, right? No small chunks here, not a couple of hundred. We're actually looking in the thousands of damage. And, I mean, we're even dealing over 2k there, putting Reven down to 1600, pretty much equalizing the field. Round number 8, Electromagnetic Blast does show up. It's not something that I consider because he can easily shield his units. Missile Strike is not really that valuable, but Advanced Power System looks very, very good here. And I think speed is going to be my biggest asset. I need to get to that tower quick, so that's what we pick up. Opponent does go for the Electromagnetic Blast. The only thing I can do here is try and shield my steel balls from getting EMP'd. The Wraith, sadly, are going to get hit. And yeah, just gonna need to shield up here. I do put down a missile interceptor on the right to try and like block anything from hitting my units. And here I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to do? I was considering a Titan, but at 1300 resources remaining, I felt like I didn't really have the money to go for something like that. And again, I was just thinking, you know, steel balls have been working so far. Why not keep going for that? If he goes for a Titan, it would probably be something like an Abyss, but Abyss is very bad against fast units. It's very bad against things like crawlers. So maybe I can just win the ground, and then hopefully, you know, my air units can clean up. I have some hit points remaining too, keep in mind, so if I just lose by one Abyss, that's okay. And instead, we're going to go for this type of play. I shield steel balls on the left, and I decide to create 3 steel balls with a beacon into the tower, as I notice that this side of the field is rather open. There is really not much that's going to stop these steel balls. I have these crawlers here to kind of distract some of the chaff. I have these steel balls which can tank a missile. Keep in mind we have picked up the second defense enhancement here. And so that's gonna be all. We do level the Rhino. And well, temp speed has been clicked, of course. We're just gonna hope that this gets in. Oil has been used, that's gonna slow down the balls significantly, but part of them have managed to avoid it. And, well, the one thing steel balls do is they take shields down very quickly. And look at that. Steel ball on the tower. It is leveled, level 2. But that's not going to be a problem. We managed to take down that tower. Take down the Farseer. Right side has been struggling a little bit more. But we have managed to connect there too. And as we get closer and closer to the tower. And this steel ball has managed to shave off some hit points off of the level 3 Farseer. We might have just been able to do it. Phoenixes going to get taken out, and with 3 Wraith left alive and a whole bunch of steel balls, that is going to be the game. This was part of the EU weekend tournament. I think it was the quarterfinals at this stage, and yeah, I was very happy with this win. Very unconventional one. Remind that, well, we started playing standard, and then we identified, okay, there's a bunch of storms, and immediately off of the unit drop, we think, let's play something different. Let's try and go air. Let's try and play fast units. Let's try and play that mech div. And yeah, hopefully we get it done. We eventually stabilize, and well, we did manage to get through. So a cool game. I think the way that my opponent should have played this is, yeah, maybe try and play for a cheese at some point, like some type of Abyss on round 6 or 7 could have been a good idea. But eventually this does get out of control. Mech div Steel Ball is one of the best, highest value techs in the game. And the only thing really that could work against it is something like Hacker. So maybe Hacker would have been an idea too. I do have Wraith, which tends to be an okay way to deal with steel balls. So if you would take some over, at least I'd be able to kill them relatively effectively. But yeah, I think something along those lines would have been the go-to. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of steel balls, steel ball Wraith, mech div steel balls. Is something you like to play or something that you really struggle to face? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date with latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.